Hello guys, good morning. Let me just check here the technology of my mobile. Just see. Hello guys, good morning. So I can see you guys can hear me. Just check here the technology. Because now I'm using this earphone, which makes everything much simpler. Let me just come here. Oops, let me just check. There we are. Okay. Okay, guys. Good morning, everyone, guys. It's nice to have you all here today. So I guess, as I said in the beginning, today we're not gonna have any sound problems because I got this easier old earplugs, which they are the simplest one, but they are quite effective. So, guys, about 2 weeks ago, good morning, Samana. Good morning, Roberta. So about 2 weeks ago, I spoke about the basic principles of Spiritism. And today I'm going to do the second part of the same talk. So we're going to try to show another aspect of the basic principles of Spiritism. Just setting things here. Just 1 second. This technology is not my best friend, believe me. There we are. Okay. Gonna go for. Okay. Okay, guys. In order for us to start, I would like to ask everyone if you guys feel comfortable to close your eyes, take a deep breath. Let's calm down our mind and our thoughts. Let's be thankful for the lives we have. Let's be thankful for another day and another opportunity to talk about Spiritism. Thank God for the opportunity of the work in the Spiritism Center. Let's be everyone thankful for everything that we have. Even the difficult times, let's be thankful and remind ourselves that everything shall pass, that everything only comes to us in order to us to improve ourselves, that God, beyond the entire justice, is merciful and love. So thank God for everything, so be it. Okay, guys, I'm gonna share my screen here. Okay, yeah, let me just, okay. Let me see what you guys can see. There we are. Okay, let me move this and share the screen again. Application window, that's it. Okay. Okay, guys, so about 2 weeks ago, we spoke about the three basic principles of Spiritism, which were the existence of God, the existence of the soul and its mortality, and reincarnation or evolution of the spirit. And today we're going to be talking about the polarities of inhabited worlds. So basically it means life in other globes around the universe, and the communicability of the spirits and mediumship. Let's make quite clear that Spiritism is not only these principles, but we can say that these are the 5 pillars of Spiritism. Some people may add other points of to be a basic principle of Spiritism here, which is fine. But today we're gonna be naming these 5 ones here are the basic principle ones. Okay, so here we're gonna be talking about the existence of life in different worlds. When I mean different worlds, I'm not talking about planets, could be even stars, but everywhere around the universe. I'm not talking about only here in our solar system, okay? There are some spiritist the Spiritist magazine, sorry, in 1865 talks a little bit about life in Jupiter and Mars. We're not going to be talking about this here today, but we're going to be a bit more general and try to use science to help us in order to compose this talk here today. But here, Kardec in the Spirit's book, he asks in the question 55, uh, uh, in the part existence of multiple worlds, a really simple question: are all the planets that revolve in space inhabited? So he's basically asking the spirits, all that stars that we see at night, which they can be stars in general, but they can be planets also. Uh, do they have life? But let's just quite be clear here. Kardec, as we're gonna see in the following questions here in this part here, in the Spirit's book, he does not really is asking about life as we perceive. He's not asking if there are humans in other planets. But the Spirit explains that to Kardec later on. But he's talking about life in a more broad sense. And recently, as you guys may saw on the news, um, the scientists, they have discovered a kind of life in Venus, which was the planet which scientists in general they would never imagine to have life, because is the closest planet to the sun. It's our neighbor. Because it's too close to the sun, most of the scientists always they claim that the life on Venus would be impossible, and now they are changing their mind. But as we can see, the science itself started only to understand life in other globes and the other galaxies only in the past, 150 years, and a bit more precise in the past 30 or 40 years. So it's something quite new to us yet. Science is still learning, and we are still learning. But the spirits, Kardec asked these questions before, over about 160 years ago. But let's read the question here and see what Kardec asks, what are the reply of the spirits. The spirits replied to Kardec, yes, and the people on earth are far from being the leaders in intelligence, goodness, and general development. Despite what they may believe. So Kardec is just, the spirits are kind of slapping Kardec, shall we say, let's joke here. Just saying to Kardec, come on, wake up. Of course, you guys think you are too good because you guys have created, I don't know, the time of Kardec, we had the train, so we have the type machine and other inventions. So we always thought we were too clever. And the spirits are saying basically to us, you are far from being the cleverest ones in the universe, and far of being the good, ones in the universe, because we have many religions and some people they claim they are too good. So the spirits are kind of being harsh with Kardec here, but in order to teach him something. And they keep going. There are many people who have such high opinion of themselves and even believe that your little world alone has the privilege of being inhabited by intelligent beings. So again, the spirits keep going, slapping Kardec in a good way. Okay, guys, I'm joking here. So he's saying to Kardec, you guys are thinking you're too good. The generals who passed around our history, they thought they were too strong and too clever. So we human beings, we think we are the best. And the spirits are simply saying to us, no, you are not. Okay? What arrogant thought? They believe that God has created the universe only for them. So in general, and some religions, they still believe that in this entire universe, that there are at least 200 billions of galaxies, and with each galaxy with 200 billions, 300 billions of stars. Only life was created on Earth. So in all the vast universe, life only exists on Earth. That's what some people believe, because they believe we are the chosen ones. Are we really the chosen ones? In the Spiritist teachings, in the Spiritist philosophy, the Spirit explains to Kardec and to us in general, and Chico Xavier also in his books with Emmanuel and André Luiz, they explain to us that on the universe there are different planets for different purposes. For example, they explain to us that Earth is a planet which is more like it's more or less like a school. There are planets which they are hospitals. There are planets which they are more like prisons. There are planets where other high beings they live. Also, there are planets where spirits which have just been created, they are starting their spiritual life. And there are planets which there is no spiritual life at all. When I mean spiritual life, I'm talking about not humans, but the spirit is the intelligent principle in the universe, according to the spirits. So there are words which life is just bacterial, like the scientists that have claimed in Venus. They claim there are a kind of life there, but of course they claim that it's a bacterial life, as they claim also for Mars. Okay, so in the entire universe, God created each globe and each galaxy for one purpose. And we are just a part of something. We are not the only ones. So God wouldn't create all these planets and stars for nothing, for only us to be looking at the sky in the night and start to say, whoa, what a beautiful stars, oh, they are so nice and blah, blah, blah. Some guys, they would go and talk to the girls, oh, look at that constellation. It looks like a heart. It's my heart for you, or something like this. So the spirits are saying to Kardec that God is a really clever being, correct? They always say that in the Question One, the Spirits book, God is the supreme intelligence. If God is the supreme intelligence, would God created all these celestial beings in the universe for nothing? If you forget about Spiritism, forget what about the spirits just said to us here, forget about all the work of Kardec, but just use our common sense. We live in a universe which is over 200 billions of galaxies, as I said. Each galaxy is more or less with 200 billion stars. And these stars, they may have 3, 10, 15, 20 planets, doesn't matter. But we are talking here about a number which I don't think there are zeros enough to add. It's an infinite number, basically. And if all this creation out there, no one can claim that it's just a creation of religion, or no one can claim that that's just a lie of science. The Hubble telescope take pictures of these parts of the universe. So with all this vast universe, do you guys really thinking, forget about anything that we know about the Spiritism, that only life exists on Earth? I'm asking you guys, do you really believe? And again, here in the question, I think 57, Kardec asks the spirits, so if there are lives in other planets, are they all similar to us? And the spirits explain, of course not. Of course not, because the beings around the universe, they have different needs. We cannot imagine that, for example, let's say a planet which is really far away from a star, which probably is really, really cold. That planet must have no life because it's far away from the sun. And the Kardec explains to us here in the question 58 that it's a very silly belief of humankind to believe that only sun generates energy. Kardec explains to us that other electricity, for example, magnetism, gravity, and all these principles in the universe, they generated energy also. So they can generate ways of that beings, which they are different than us, to live. That's what the spirits are saying to Kardec, basically. Do not fool yourself. Do not believe that everywhere must be like Earth, because it's not. And Kardec and the works of Chico Xavier explains to us that in evolved globes or evolved stars, such as Alcyone, for example, such in Sirius, where Alcyone from the book Renunciation, she lives, she's a high evolved spirit in that book from Chico Xavier, Renunciation. In Sirius, only high evolved spirits, which are much further, much far from us in terms of moral and intelligence. So they're on a much higher level than us. They don't have the same physical aspect that we have. They don't have the same necessities that we have. And even Aruto Dutra sometimes he jokes, if you go to the universe, if you could travel around the universe, if you go to a planet where they have ears, where they have nose, where they have intestine, where they have to eat, be sure that that spirits they are like us, because the spirits explains to us that in high evolved planets or stars, the spirits they don't need these kind of things that we need anymore. And in the same question here, there is Kardec's comments, and this is Kardec's comments from the replies of the spirits in the question 55. Kardec says, God has populated planets with living beings, all of which have a role in the ultimate divine plan, believing that living beings are confined to the one point of the universe inhabited by us, cast doubt on God's wisdom. God has done nothing in vain and must have assigned a purpose to every other world that is more important than merely serving as a lovely backdrop for our planet. Furthermore, there is nothing in the position, size, or physical makeup of Earth that warrants the assumption that it alone of thousands of planets in space has the privilege of being inhabited. Here you see Kardec say thousands. Of course, the time of Kardec, we didn't have the telescopes that we have today, but for sure Kardec would say today billions, not thousands, billions of planets, billions of stars. So at the time of Kardec, we didn't have this knowledge, but Kardec is basically saying to us the same thing which I said here right now. So God's wisdom cannot create things in vain in the universe. Doesn't make much sense. So here today, I could go if I try to work on the Genesis book or in the Spiritism magazines furthermore, especially when the spirits talk about Jupiter and Mars. But I think sometimes this can be quite polemical because in the Spirits magazine it said one thing, in certain books of Chico Xavier it said another thing. So that's why I'm gonna be more precise and concise here in this part when we talk about other of life around the universe, because I don't want to get to this polemical aspects. But you guys can be sure about one thing. Doesn't matter if it's in Jupiter, in Mars, in Venus, in Pluto, or in any other galaxy, life is everywhere. That's what basically the spirits are trying to explain to us. Life is everywhere. Different kinds of life, but life is everywhere. Okay, so I'm not gonna really take much time here to talk about life around outside of Earth, but as I said, I really believe that science back up Kardec's thoughts from 160 years ago, and the science nowadays, even some science they say they cannot guarantee, but once you think about probability, it's more or less quite childish to imagine that there is only life here. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I hope I didn't make you guys even loster than that. But here I'm gonna go to try to talk about a different principle, which for us, for the spirits, it's a very important principle for the Spiritism teachings. That's why the first topic, I think it's quite explanatory because we have science, but this here we have to go a bit deeper. Communicability of spirits or mediumship. According to the Medium's book, that book is from 1861, chapter 14, in the item 159, the spirits explains every individual who senses the influence of the spirits to any degree of intensity is a medium. This faculty is inherent to humankind. It, therefore, does not constitute an exclusive privilege, and there are very few individuals who do not possess it, at least in a very rudimentary state. Thus, we can state that everyone is a medium in a certain degree. So the spirits are explained to Kardec that it's hardly ever No one, like someone around the earth, is not a medium. But here we have to understand that mediumship has different degrees and different purpose, shall we say. That's why I have the general classification of mediums. But we have to understand that mediumship is something like us, like earth, like the universe, like the spirit. It progress. And because life is in a different stage that we were, let's say, 2 or 3, 4,000 years ago, certain mediumship faculties are more or less used. I'm gonna give you a very simple example. When you take in the Bible all the miracles done by the apostles in Acts of the Apostles, we can see that they were simple people, like Peter, for example, the one who denies Jesus. John, the youngest apostle. We have the other ones, Tomé, how do you say Tomé in English? I forgot. Tomé. Okay. All the other apostles, they present some kind of mediumship. So the mediumship at the time of Jesus was more physical, like we say here, physical effects mediums. So all the mediums, even Jesus, because Jesus, according to Chico Xavier in his work, and Emmanuel claims that Jesus is the greatest medium of all times for earth, because Jesus is the greatest spirit who ever came to earth. So he's the model and guide. So because he is in this really pure stage, he is the greatest medium of all. So Emmanuel explains to us that Jesus had all kinds of mediumship, all kinds. So all the famous miracles that we say done by Jesus, we can say that they are actions of mediumship. They are not miracle, because a miracle is basically a simple of act of taking, let's say, one of God's law, such as law of death and life, and break that law. So basically, once if you do a miracle that goes against God's law, there are 2 points: or God's not perfect, or Jesus is like God, which Spiritism explained that's not the case. Even if some religions they believe Jesus is like God. There are some parts in the Bible which Jesus make this claim, but once he makes this claim, he's trying to say, I'm very close to God. I progressed quite a lot, so I'm in a very stage of the word is not the correct which I'm going to be using now, but it's like they're really close friends, shall we say. Friends is the wrong word, guys, because now that just came to my mind. But I'm going to try to remember the word. But they are leveled in such a high connection that Jesus makes these claims. But Spiritism teaches us that's not the case. Though the mediumship effects of Jesus' time, they had to impress people. That's why they so-called miracles, they had to impress those who are there. So we can say that the time of Jesus, a lot of physical mediums were alive. That's why not only Jesus, the apostles, or even simpler people, or some of the so-called saints by the Catholic Church, they were mediums of physical effects. We have electrical persons, sensitive mediums, hearing mediums, speaking mediums. Speaking mediums in this case here, or let's go back to hearing mediums, is that one who hears a voice of a spirit, okay? And that voice is very clear to that person. But sometimes that person cannot see. Speaking mediums is the ones that, for example, we call psychophony. Psychophonic mediumship is the one that we see a lot. Divaldo Franco, in the end of his speeches, he kind of the spirit of Dr. Bezerra of Menezes comes, gets close to the perispirit of Divaldo Franco, and the Bezerra de Menezes starts to talk through Divaldo Franco. That's what we can say a speaking medium. We have the seeing mediums, which are the mediums who see. We have the somnambulist mediums that if you guys go in the Spirits book, you guys can have much more explaining about the somnambulist effects. Helium mediums. We have also the pneumatographical, which are basically the ones who write, such as Chico Xavier and Divaldo Franco. But here, guys, I'm not going to go through all these faculties because otherwise I would need at least 2 hours to explain. So I highly recommend, if you guys want to go through the medium faculties, please go to the medium's book. That's the best book you can go and to search up for a bit more. But what I can say from this general classification of the mediums, that even Jesus said that there will be a time where the man won't need anymore to see miracles and wonders to believe, because the belief of mankind would be much more in their heart, because mankind, they would just simply understand, if I have everything, all this universe, if life is good, even if we have some problems, we must have, some kind of force which helps and conducts all these stars, planets, and beings around the universe. Humankind is going to start to believe, not because of religion, but because of their moral and even because of science. So Chico Xavier explains to us that once we get closer to the word of uh, the once we get close to the stage of transition of the word, once we go to the words of oh god, the word just disappeared. Anyone? Once we go to the next stage of evolution on Earth, these kind of mediumships, they're going to start to vanish, because we're not gonna need mediums like this cutting people doing this effect anymore. We're not gonna need. It's a matter of time. Now we need, in order to believe, there will be a time, as Jesus said, that even those who cannot see, they will believe. Okay? So we go here in the Gospel according to Spiritism, and I believe the Spirit, I think, let me see who is the Spirit. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't think it says itself who is the Spirit in chapter 24, but I really think that the Spirit here wants to teach a lesson to the mediums. In the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 4, 8 and 12, called the health do not need a doctor. Oops, let me fix my typo here. The health do not need a doctor. Health do not need a doctor. Okay, the health do not. Sorry, guys, for the typo. So in this chapter here, the Spirits explains to Kardec that mediumship is an organic disposition, and therefore anyone may be gifted with this ability. So once we think anyone can be a mediumship, thank you, Roberta. Thank you, Tanya. Sometimes the words just disappear from my brain, guys. Believe me. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting too old. What can I say? Thank you, girls. You are the best, the dream team. So here in the chapter 24, the spirits are basically saying that anyone can have mediumship, even the worst person in the world, even the worst dictator, because mediumship is an organic disposition. So it's something which is given to everyone, and it's something natural to our body. Okay, and mediumship is comfort without distinctions, so that spiritism can be bringing enlightenment to all walks of life, to all classes of people, to rich and poor alike, to those who are honest, so they may be fortified in goodness, and also to the corrupt, so they may be corrected. So it's spiritism, the spirits are explained to us that mediumship is a natural faculty of our body. As Kardec explains to us, all of us are a medium in a certain stage, but mediumship sometimes is given to a spirit who perhaps is a bit smarter than us, to fortify their goodness, to fortify their faith. Not when I mean faith, I'm not talking about the religious faith, but faith here in life, that everything keeps going, that all difficulties shall pass, that life is just a lesson that we are learning, but also to the corrupted ones, so they may be corrected. And why the Spirit says that? Because sometimes we see people who are mediums, and we talk with our friends, or we ask ourselves, how come that person is a medium? That person does this, does that, that person says this and says that, and we say, come on, Maybe God gave that mediumship to the wrong person. So mediumship is not to the good ones, it's to everybody. And as it says here, sometimes it's given to the wrong person that we believe to help that person to improve in that reincarnation. So that person having mediumship can start to act different than as he did or she did before. So mediumship does not necessarily imply habitual relations with superior spirits. That's a really wrong thing that a lot of mediums they have, especially back in Brazil, because they think, oh, I'm a medium, so I'm hearing the spirits, I'm seeing the spirits. Huh? So they must be good spirits. Why? Because some spirits, Kardec explains to us in the Medium's book, they're like us. They are fool spirits. They're spirits with no knowledge. They are jokers. So let me give an example. There are spirits who sometimes they try to trick the medium. So they go to the medium and say, let's say I am Julius Caesar, or I am Late Gaga. Late Gaga is alive. Sorry, I'm John Lennon. Whatever. They try to fool the spirit saying these things. But if you ask the spirit, if you are John Lennon, can you please write me a song right now? And the spirit may come to you and say, "Oh, I forgot how to write songs because in the spiritual world we don't do this." So there are spirits who lie to the mediums. And some mediums, they forget what Kardec said. We have to ask ourselves, okay, it's a spirit, but is it a good spirit? Is it a really a spirit which is trying to help us or not? So that's the main question we have to make to ourselves. Okay, so if you are a medium, does not don't think, do not believe at all that you are only in high connection with good spirits. And the spirits keep going and say, a good medium is not the one who communicates with easy, but the one who is agreeable to good spirits and who is helped by them. So the spirits are saying to us that a lot of people who have this mediumship really like some people, they go to the spirit center and they sit and they start to do things like this, and they start to, as we say sometimes in the wrong way, to incorporate, because the spirit does not incorporate in anyone. As I said in the case of Divaldo Franco, the spirit get closest to the perispirit of the medium, and that connection happens. Okay, so some people who have this kind of mediumship really, um, really, how you call the word again, really strong, they think they are like the best mediums because they connected too quick, and the spirits are very clear. The good medium is only that one who is connected, who can connect with good spirits, not that one who connects with all the spirits are surrounding them, because as a medium we can connect to any energy that we have. And here, Emmanuel comes with a kind of another slap. Sorry for the joke again, but a kind of alert to the mediums, because he says in this message from the book Emmanuel from 1938, chapter 11, that the mediums, in their generality, are not missionaries in the common sense of the term. They are souls who have failed disastrously, who have greatly counteracted the course of divine laws, and who arrest you under the weight of the self commitments and unlimited responsibilities to the obscure and the formed past. So what Emmanuel is saying to us here, that mediums in general are people who in previous lives they weren't really the best people. They failed. They used their talents, their life facilities, shall we say, to not really acting good. So a lot of them they come as a medium in order to try to recover this. And mediumship is given to them sometimes in order to make them progress a bit faster, because maybe without mediumship they would still committing the same mistakes. His past tense is often filled with grave slips and clamorous mistakes. Almost always they are spirits who have failing from the social summits by the abuse of power, authority, fortune, and intelligence, and who return to earth to sacrifice themselves in favor of the great numbers of souls who have deviated from the luminous path of faith, charity, and virtue. Each time I read this part here about this message, a lot of people, like I used to do that in the spirit center sometimes, and I ask who is a medium, and some people sometimes they just raise their hand, do you know? And then I bring these slides, and some people instead of raising their hand, they start doing this. Oops, oops! I don't think I'm a medium anymore, because sometimes, as I said, whoever is a medium, they come to the Spirit Center and they say, "Oh, I have a mission because someone told me in the Spirit Center back in Brazil that I have to save the world or I have to go and study my mediumship quite a lot because I have to do something." You don't need a Spirit Center to study your mediumship. Sorry, the Spirit Center is the best place to study your mediumship. That's true. The medium book is the best book. But if you are doing good, if you are elevated in your thoughts, if your actions they are what comes from our heart and they are good, of course, then in an indirect way you are exercising your mediumship. Because so many scientists who have passed in our history, so many people who have no religion, have no knowledge of mediumship, they were mediums. André Luiz explains to us that so many artists who painted so many beautiful paintings in the Renaissance, for example, in other periods of time, they were mediums and they were inspired by the good spirits of art to bring that beauty to us. The same for music. Mozart, for example, again in the Spiritism magazine 1860, they claim that he's a spirit who lives in a different planet already. Mozart, so is a, let's say, a high evolved spirit, or at least more evolved than us, according to the Spiritist teachings, according to the Spirits magazine. Mozart was a medium in a way that he could perceive music, so he could filter these notes, these musical ideas given by good spirits, but he had no religion. So Kardec, the Emmanuel is trying to explain here to us that mediumship, we are not all missionaries, but if you are doing your own part, even if you don't believe in anything, if you are doing good, you are studying mediumship already. You are using your faculty. But of course, if you are a spiritist, if you have access to a spiritist center where they have studies of mediumship, by all means, do it. Because the medium's book is really the best and most secure way of studying mediumship, because it shows the step by step to us. But don't think, please, don't think just because you have a mediumship, because sometimes you can see the spirit or you can hear that you are a missionary. Yes, you have to use that faculty to do good. But doing good, it doesn't mean that you have to be in a spirit center. If you are elevating your vibration and doing good, you are doing that already. But if you have the chance, do it. Unfortunately, we don't have that space in our spirit center here in Dublin, especially now with COVID. But most of us who have mediumship, uh, we may have access to a spirit center back in Brazil or here in London, for example. We have a spirit center there who have a better who have studies of mediumship itself. So you guys can go and search, you can try to ask us. We can try to send you guys somewhere. But mediumship, it's a tool which the spirits gives to us in order for us to progress. And as it says here, most of us who have mediumship, we have failed before. So we are giving another chance. Okay, guys? Let me see here. There is any comments? Stephen says here, everyone suffers influence from spirits. However, the kind of spirits isolated to your vibrations. That's 100%, Stephen. What Stephen said here is 100% true. We all suffer, as the spirits books explains to us. We all have the spirits influences, but it's like a radio. If I like rock and roll, or if I like jazz, if I like samba, if I like any kind of music, it's up to me to go to the radio and tune. Okay, I want to go and listen to rock and roll. I want to go and listen to country music. I have to choose because I have the free will. I have the power to choose which kind of music I want to listen. So I have the power and the free will also to choose the vibration which I want to connect with. It's up to us in the end of the day. We cannot say, oh, the spirits, they are the ones who run us. So it means we are puppets of the spirits. No, we are not. Yes, they have an influence from us, but we are the owners. We are the masters of our life. Never forget this. You are the master of your life. You are the master of your soul. You have this power to choose where or to you're going to connect. To whom, to which spirit you're going to connect. Patricia Rodriguez says here to us, it's better to be in the spirit center surrounded by by minded people than to be in media on your own. 100% I agree with Patricia. That's the correct way. But sometimes you are in a place where you don't have this. So if you don't have this, do the gospel at home. Some people, they come to us on Facebook. I'm a medium and I would like to study mediumship. And I always ask the people, are you doing the gospel at home? Are you studying? Are you open? Are you even open the medium's book? They come to me, no. So you have to do that first. It's not because you have a mediumship that you have to go straight to the mediums to a mediumship meeting to learn about mediumship. No, a serious mediumship center is gonna say the same to you. Oh, you have mediumship, so you study this, and that. Go and this and this and that. Of course, there are cases which are different because the mediumship of someone can be very, very strong. But that's not so common, to be honest, guys. But we have this kind of case, okay? So, of course, the Spirit Center is the best place. But if you don't have, you can do your part. Doing the gospel at home, reading good books, keeping yourself in good vibrations, trying to help someone. As I said, so many religious people from the past, Mother Teresa, for example, Irman Dus, and other priests and people from the Muslim tradition, from the Buddhist tradition, Hindu tradition, they don't really understand it. They don't, not they don't understand, but they don't have the knowledge that we have about mediumship. But they are mediums. Some of them, they are mediums also, strong mediums. But they are not studying the spirits, the medium's book. So how they are doing? They are doing good. They are helping the others. They are keeping all the time their vibration high. So they are doing their part. So if you're a medium, do your own part. Do not rely only the spirit center. If you have that place, if that's something quite easy for you, okay, by all means, do it. But if you don't, there are other ways. Okay, guys? And thank God we have the internet also. But here, because don't have much time, guys, and each of these 5 principles of Spiritism here, believe me, if we go into all the books, we're gonna need sometimes at least 1 hour to even get close to explain properly all this. But we don't have this time, unfortunately. So that's why if I missed something, guys, if I didn't say something from someone who knows much more than me, which I'm sure there are hundreds, there are people here who are watching us and knows much more than me. Tanya, for example, she knows a lot. Steven also, Nate. So, guys, if I forgot something, guys, please forgive me. Please forgive me. If I forgot to mention someone here who knows much more than me, please forgive me. But it's a huge topic. But we're going to concentrate now on one book called What is Spiritism? Just 1 second. Which is a really tiny book. I don't have one here because all the ones which I have, I give to my Irish friends because that's at least myself and Stephen, we always try to do this. Nate also, when we were open the Spirit Center, some people, they come to us, I would like to learn a little bit more about Spiritism. And the Spirit's book, guys, as you can see, is quite thick. The Gospel also is quite thick. Some people, they want to have some kind of an easy, small book. And the What is Spiritism is something like this, which thick like this, maybe maximum of 100 pages. And in that book, Kardec wrote that book. That was his idea. He knew that some people they would have no patience or they wouldn't put effort to read the Spirit's book. So he kind of shrinked all that ideas of the Spiritist doctrine. Sorry, in that is little book. And here in chapter 1, it's a very interesting chapter because we have in a discussion with a critic, a skeptical, and a priest. So Kardec in this chapter 1, he talked with three different people who didn't believe in Spiritism. I'm going to concentrate here. This conversation is huge between Kardec and a priest. And for those who have watched the Kardec movie, there is a time when Kardec, of course, that's in the cinema, okay, that's in the movie, when Kardec is talking to a bishop, the Bishop of Lyon. So I imagine that conversation probably happened in a way that the director filmed that scene. So Kardec is talking with this priest, and this priest comes with a lot of questions, to Kardec, and with a lot of points using the Catholic tradition to oppose Spiritism, to oppose the ideas of the spirits and of Kardec. So they are having this conversation, and I'm just gonna, as I said, trying to imagine how this conversation was. But because this part is huge, I'm gonna concentrate to end my speech now. And if you guys have any questions, you guys can can ask here. If you guys want to make any comment, please do it. So in this chapter 1, a brief discussion of Spiritism in the third dialogue, with the priest, yeah? Kardec says something to the priest which for me was quite strong. I believe this time Kardec was maybe losing his patience, I guess. I'm just me. I'm not saying he's in this, but the way that he says, believe, therefore. Now, believe, therefore, in whatever you like, even in the existence of devil. If such belief can make you good, a human charitable towards your fellow man. He goes to the second part. Oops. Yeah. So basically, he's basically saying to us, believe in whatever you like. If your belief, even if you want to believe in how you call it, Harry Potter or in the Church of Pizza, I think there is the Church of Pizza somewhere, in the Church of whatever, doesn't matter. Believe in whatever you want to believe, as long as your belief can make you a better person and a charitable person towards your fellow man, it's fine. So Kardec, and here in this part, Kardec says also that when he's talking to his priest, that Spiritism does not want to impose its ideas to anyone, but also Spiritism does not want any other one to impose their idea to the Spiritist people also. So as a Spiritist, we shouldn't impose our ideas. But I mean, of course, if someone tries to impose their ideas to us, it's not nice. But us, as a Spiritist, we have the duty to try to be. We have the duty of trying to have more patience, because in Spiritism, the teachings of Jesus says to us that you have to forgive, that you have to be kind to the other. So if someone is not being kind with us, that's their problem. But we have to be kind with that person, or at least trying to respect in the best way. So Kardec explains to this priest that what you believe, how you see God, how you see life. If you believe there is just life on earth, if you believe that we cannot talk to the spirits, if you believe in any of these things, doesn't matter. As long as you believe, make you a better person. And here in the second part, Kardec comes, continuing in this paragraph. Spiritism, as a moral group of teachings, imposes only one thing: the need to do good and to avoid doing wrong. So the only thing which Spiritism would impose, what I mean here, I think Kardec used this word impose because he was talking with a priest, so in a more serious environment. But basically, the only thing which Spiritism is claiming from us is for us to try to do good and avoid doing wrong. So to improve ourselves every day and try to be a better person than yesterday. That's the only thing which Spiritism asks us. If you don't want to believe in any of the Spiritist teachings, that's fine. But, but if you are improving yourself, you are in the correct path. And he keeps going. Impose one thing, they need to do good and avoid doing wrong. It's a science of observation that, I repeat, has moral consequences, which are the confirmation and the proof of the great principles of religion. As for secondary questions, it leaves them to the conscience of each one. So Kardec is saying to us that Spiritism is a science of observation. Why? Because it observes our surrounds and it observes the relationship with the spirits. That's why in the What is Spiritism, Kardec says that Spiritism is a science of observation, but also as a science of observation, it has moral effects on us, which are the confirmation of the proof of the great principles of religion. And these consequences, which are related to our moral, make ourselves better. So, Spiritism is a science of observation which has consequences which are related to religion, but a religion not regarding to in the way that we see, but much more in the moral aspect, because religiosity has this kind of things. It teaches us how to become a better person, in a way that, with, for example, with the parables of Jesus, all that parables are in the Old Testament, all that parables, they have an idea, they have a kind of a mean that the listener has to listen to that and try to take the idea of their parable and improve itself. So as for the secondary questions, it leaves then to the concept of each one. So if you don't believe in anything of the Spiritism's claims, if you don't believe in any questions of the Spirit's book, if you don't believe in anything that the Spirit wrote to Kardec, it's fine as long as you are doing good. But that's up to your conscience. Because Dr. Bezerra de Menezes said to us, Spiritism does not violate conscience. So no spiritist should impose reincarnation, should impose life in other planets, should impose, for example, that maybe in a previous life, someone who perhaps has a mental problem in this life, maybe had committed suicide in the previous lives that we see in books of Chico Xavier, Divaldo, Ivone Amaral Pereira. So we should impose these ideas to people, but we have to try to make the people to understand the moral aspect of Spiritism. That's why Spiritism is a group of moral teachings. And if you observe the moral aspect of Spiritism, forgetting about all these things, we are in the correct path. So he's trying to say to the priest, if you believe that Jesus did this or did that, if you believe that Jesus multiplied the fish and the bread, that's fine. You can believe in anything that is written in any book, that's fine, as long as you are using this tradition that you follow, this philosophy to improve yourselves and try to help the others. Then I have a question, because a lot of us here, we are in the Spirit Center, coming at least for 2 or 3 years. Some people, they come for a few months and they go, but there are some faces which I see there at least for the past 5 years. Some people less, some faces less. But then I have this question, and I don't want you guys to answer me that question, but answer to yourself. Are we using Spiritism teachings to improve ourselves, at least, or to help and to comfort the others? So, if I read all these books, if I go to each live we have here, if I go to each study on Wednesday with Neide and Tanya, if I watch Divaldo Franco all the time, am I using that to make myself a better person? Because if you are not doing that, perhaps we are wasting. Of course, some people, they are in a different times. Some people, they have to read and they have to memorize, they have to see that everywhere in order to start to bring that to our daily lives. But even those people who have this difficult to practice, are they trying? Are you trying, guys? Because it's really, there is a huge difference. If you know all the questions from the Spirit's book, over 1,000 questions, if you know all that questions, and you cannot put that into practice yet, because maybe you have a difficult, maybe for you it's still quite unclear, that's fine. But if you are just using Spiritism to say nice words, like in my case, to come here to give speeches on Sunday sometimes, or to tell to your friends, you are not really using Spiritism for the best purpose. If you are in a traditional religion, if you are going to the church on Sunday, and if you are reading the Bible or any other religious book, and if you are just really reading and to show yourself in that church or in that temple, to show to the others that you are a man of faith, you are using religion to the wrong in the wrong way. That's why I have this picture, which I really like, because Jesus in this picture, he's carrying someone, he's helping someone, and he's a spirit that, at least for us in the Spiritist movement, he's the greatest spirit. So he didn't have to come from the highest evolved planet to come to help us. He could just say, "Go there, angel, and do this and do that and do that." He could do this, but he came to set an example. So even if the greatest spirit ever lived, if the greatest spirit who ever lived on earth came to earth to wash the feet of the apostles, to be betrayed by the apostles, to be crucified. Even if you don't believe in what I'm saying here regarding to Jesus in this religious aspect, let's say, let's take other great spirits who came to earth. If those spirits, they set an example, because the change that we see on our society, they don't come with a group of people in general, they come with one or two people. They have an idea, they spread that idea, and that idea is, people, they start to listen to that idea, and they start to go and they start to spread this idea. So in general, good change, they come isolated, then they start to spread, or they came isolated in different places. But these people, they set examples. These spirits, they live what they say. Then I ask you ourselves, are we living Spiritism? Or we are just saying, we are just talking about Spiritism? So if you are not able to use Spiritism to comfort anyone or to improve yourself, I'm not saying that you are wrong, please, but I'm going to invite you to rethink. Once you open the Gospel according to Spiritism, read the messages of the spirits. Rethink. If you don't believe in Spiritism, put a music that you feel more connected with your spirituality, and rethink about yourself. Rethink about your ways. If you cannot change yet, welcome to the club, because I'm the one who cannot change yet a lot of things which I have myself, such as many of us. But try to put in practice what we are studying, what we are seeing. Okay? And Daniela, sorry, always give to us great comments. Definitely. So we don't need to think about the question every single day. It's a kind of daily exercise, I think. She's 100% correct. It's a daily exercise. We have to try to do this daily. And once we do that daily, it goes into the automatic mode. So we start to really think, we start to do only good with the others. And of course, there are those who come to us and annoy us. We are not perfect. We are not angels. We are not. I'm not saying that we're gonna be doing 100% good all the time. But even once we say something hard to someone, we think about someone in not in a really pleasant way. Once we go to bed, if we really kind of want to change ourselves, sorry, we may reflect and say, I shouldn't have said that to that person. So Maybe tomorrow you're gonna try to go and talk to that person. But maybe tomorrow you can't do this because you don't see that person. But whenever you can see that person, go and try to say sorry. And if you cannot say sorry, because sometimes the person didn't care about what you said, at least send good vibrations. Try to send good thoughts to that person. Then you are trying to correct a little bit of yourself. Then you are using spiritism in a good way to improve yourself. And once you are strong enough, maybe you can help and comfort the others. But if you're not there yet, at least try to use spiritism to improve yourself. Then we are using spiritism in a good way. That's the message which I want to bring here today, guys. And as I said, uh, look who is here, a great friend of us here at the Spirit Center, Rodolfo. Good morning, Rodolfo. He lives in Braga, and he does a great job in the Portuguese movement in Braga, but around the surrounding Braga also. He's doing the month, I think, or the week of the Yellow September. So we had only one day of Yellow September. He's giving almost daily speeches of different speakers in Portugal. So he's a really great worker of the Spiritist movement. Thanks for your presence, my friend. But oops. Thanks, Daniela. Thank you very much. Thank you for your words. So that's the talk for today, guys. I'm just gonna leave here a few comments, now, a few announcements. Let me just do this. So, just to let everyone know that every Wednesday we have our studies with Tanya Moore and Age Mota. They are conducting the studies group. Unfortunately, we don't have the studies group as we used to have before in the Lantern Center because of the COVID, but we are using that on Zoom. So these meetings, they happen every Wednesday at 8 p.m. They are done by Zoom, as I said. If you guys want to join, please send an email to us to spiritismisland@gmail.com. The email is there on the screen. And please ask access to Nadia. She will give you the Zoom code, and you can access. Okay, so it's open to everyone, but we have this Zoom way to the people, because then we can control who is coming, and it's a much easier way to allow everyone to speak. But it's open to everyone. If you haven't really opened any spiritist book in your life, you are more than welcome to come. If you're not Brazilian, believe me, everything is done in English. Even sometimes we make plenty of mistakes, as I did here today, but it's okay. Everything is in English. We try to explain as much as we can. So Neide and Tanya, they do a great job. So for our fellow Irish friends, Tanya, she's Irish, so you understand everything with her. She's great. Also here, just let everyone know that we have our lives on Facebook every Tuesday and every Thursday at 7:15. And we try to bring sometimes different speakers, but sometimes we cannot, because all the spiritist speakers back in Brazil or here in Europe, they are quite busy also. But we try to bring fellow friends to join our lives. Otherwise, it's gonna be we doing that. And also on Sundays at 11:15, we have this meeting here, this live. On Thursday and Wednesday, also we show that to the guys in American Kardec Radio. But on Sundays, we just share the live here in our Facebook page. Have I forgotten anything? I don't think so. If I forgot anything, I know. So, guys, just one point to make very, very clear. Actually, a few points. Unfortunately, we don't know when we're gonna have our Spirit Center back in a normal, in a physical way, as we used to have in the Lantern Center, because of the COVID measures. So we are really sorry about this, but believe if it was up to us, we would go back tomorrow, but we can't. So all our activities at the moment, at present, they are done here with Facebook and YouTube. They are done online. Those, so if anyone has a book, and if you guys, maybe you guys cannot hold that book anymore, message us on Facebook. We're gonna try to arrange someone to collect that book with you. But please bear in mind, because of the COVID restrictions, this can be delayed a little bit. But if you can hold the book, there is no problem, because our library is closed. The books are not with us. The books are in the Lantern Center. So people, they come into Facebook and ask us also, oh, can I buy a gospel of according to Spiritism from you guys? And we are not selling anything, because all the books, they are there. So if anyone wants to buy books of Kardec, of Chico Xavier, Divaldo Franco, all the Kardec's works are translated to English. Some of books of Divaldo and Chico are translated in English also, but a lot of them actually. And you guys can find that on Amazon and Book Depository. You can find it online basically if you search for it. So they are the best places that you guys can buy. Once we're gonna have our meetings again in the Lantern Center or somewhere else, we will let you guys know. Some people, they are saying thanks here. Patricia, thank you. Patricia, thank you. Camila, thanks, Steven. You guys are so kind with me all the time. Thanks, I appreciate you guys enjoy. So guys, we're gonna do our final prayer, and let's finish. Just 1 second, guys. My computer here. Okay, again, for those who feel comfortable, I'd like to ask you to close your eyes if you want to sit in a comfortable position. And let's try to imagine a huge light around us. This light is comforting us. This light is taking away all the bad thoughts, all the bad energies and vibrations surrounding our physical body. That light is transforming itself almost like a human body and hugs us, comfort us. That light makes ourselves to feel more energized and to believe more in ourselves, even when the world says to us that we can't. That light says to us, keep going, one more step. That light comforts us even more. We feel relaxed. So let's be thankful for all the good spirits who help and support us all the time here. Let's be thankful for all the good spirits when sometimes we don't realize, but they are surrounding us, inspiring us to act better, to act different than yesterday, to perhaps to open our hearts, to see the other with more empathy, with eyes which are not condemning, but are giving their hands and are understanding that we are all humans. We all make mistakes. But if you help one another, perhaps we can prove ourselves a little bit better, a little bit faster. That light which is surrounding us in a human physical body shape is Jesus. And he says to us, one more step, one more step. Let's keep going, guys, in life, because in life we're gonna find difficulties. But if we go further, step by step, we may reach our target. Okay, guys. Thank you very much, guys, for everyone. So next Tuesday, we're going to have our live. Enjoy your Sunday, guys. Thank you very much. Bye bye.